Welcome to the Vargas Team Podcast, the #1 real estate podcast to come in the future. Okay, you guys just wait for it. So we're going to get started with the topics because I know how you fickle you viewers are. If it's not entertaining within the first 10 seconds, then you guys are going to click off. So in this podcast, what we're going to be covering and what you guys are going to be listening is the 2 class action lawsuits that can change real estate forever moving forward. The best events taking place in Miami, we're going to rank them from best to worst, so don't at me. And we're also going to be talking about, is the real estate market crashing? Stick around for that because it's probably not what you think we're going to say, at least me. Miami tops the list as highest inflation city in the world. Actually, not in the world, in the city. Could be, in the States. Could be in the world, but who knows, at least in the States. And lastly, because of my beautiful wife, why is Miami hated on so much? And if you guys saw the last podcast and our social media, you may have an idea as to why I'm bringing this one up. So stick around
That's
to the
going to
end
be real fun.
if you want to know why Miamians and Miami in general is hated on so much. So with that being said, guys, if any of those topics interest you, then obviously stick around because we're going to be covering that and possibly a lot more stuff. And if not, then obviously see you later. Catch you on the next video. But make sure to subscribe while you're at it before you head out. Like this video and obviously share it with a friend. Okay, cool. So with that, welcome.
Hi.
What's up, man?
We're back.
We're back. Awesome. So let's get straight into it because people need to be entertained and I need to have, I also need to have this drink. So everybody's drinking.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Thank
Cheers.
you, Mario. Well, I have tea.
You're gonna have
Cheers,
some
cheers,
of it.
cheers. So I want to
Enjoy.
get
Cheers.
straight into it because again, there's a lot of things to cover and I don't want to make this Joe Rogan podcast long.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So first thing is there, like I mentioned, there's 2 class action lawsuits that are taking place with NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, for those of you guys who don't know. And both of them could be groundbreaking and change the way that real estate is done. So it's a pretty serious matter. So the first, I purposely haven't sent you guys this article because I want to get your reaction, your real reaction without any really like oversight. The first is that they're suing they're suing for buyer agent commissions, right? Because what's happening here is that what they're saying is the lawsuit is that agents are purposely steering other buyers or their clients to properties that pay higher commissions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a property that's listed at 3% and you have another property that's listed at 2.5%, most agents are not going to show them the 2.5% property in terms of commission, right? Because the standard commission is 3% for outside agents. Mm-hmm. So NAR is getting sued that all commissions should just be equally uniform throughout the board because then it obviously poses an issue as to what agents favor what, and obviously are they really intentionally hurting their clients and not showing them properties that maybe their clients want to see. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? And do you think, will it hurt the industry or will it help the buyer?
What's your thought process on that?
Dude,
You guys need to be a little closer to the mics. I don't know.
I know
Can you
you
hear
have
us?
something.
yeah, number one, man, if it's already hard trying to get buyers to work with you, I can't imagine trying to get them to work with you and then having to pay you on top of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's number one.
Well, that's going on in New York.
Yeah.
So, and I know, and it's difficult.
And it's hard,
It's a
man.
grind. A lot of those
Yeah.
agents end up here because
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
nobody wants to pay.
Look, I agree with Mario.
I think both of them have their pros and cons, right? Because if everyone's getting paid the same commission, you also don't have, I would say, like a seller lowballing what your commission would be.
Mhm.
Because I'm seeing that a lot in this market. No, if you don't have a set commission, they try to. We just had it. Like we just had some. I would say like a prospective client reach out to us, and they're like, "Hey, can you drop your commission by a certain percentage?"
Mhm.
And we're like, "No, at that point, it's just not worth it. The time, the marketing, the effort that goes into that." I can definitely see it not being profitable, not just for agents, but on the other side. So.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting proposition that they're saying, and I definitely get it. This is a not known thing to the public, but definitely true. When I read this article, I'm like 100%. Agents do this all the time on the rental side, especially on the purchase side. And it almost makes sense. Like I definitely see both sides of the story. If you are a real estate agent, obviously, at some point we're transactional brokers. So the question if we have a fiduciary responsibility to our clients, is up in the air in terms of, are you a transactional broker? Because you're trying to just get the transaction done. But that's on paper. In the real world, we are representing real people that are buying properties, and it's in at least my best interest to try to get them the best possible deal, right? But I would be lying if I were to tell you that there aren't agents out there where I've purposely listed properties on the listing side and have had to take a smaller commission because, we're negotiating with the seller and they just don't want to sell it. And people don't show the property. Like Chloe was saying, we had a client not too long ago that came to us and said, I will give you 3 listings, but at 4% commission, which is split 2 and 2, instead of the 6% commission, which is split 3 and 3. And I didn't take the listing. And what I told her was exactly, before I read this article, I told her exactly that. I'm like, if I take the 4% commission, do 2 and 2, it's going to hurt your property because a lot of agents aren't going to want to show it.
On the market
right?
forever,
It's going to be on the market forever because the second they see a property that's on the market similar to this property, why would they choose to show your property over your neighbor's property that's going to pay them 1% more? It just doesn't make sense. And that's the real world that we live in. And so knowing this, I do see the buyer side, and which leads into the second NAR lawsuit, which they've combined. It's now a class action lawsuit. It's called the Tsitzer lawsuit. And this could change forever how commissions are paid. So I'm going to read this to you real quick, and then I'll just get your thoughts. So the story starts on November 14th, 2017. These owners, they decided to list their home with a real estate agent from Keller Williams. The agent listed a home in the Heartland on the MLS, and the sellers offered 5.5% commission, of which 3% ended up being paid to the buyer's agent out of, to the buyer's pocket, right? So the listing agent got a smaller commission out of that cut, right? And here it says the buyer's broker worked for the buyer. The broker helped negotiate the sales price down, but Sitzer had no power in negotiating the buyer's broker commission. He just had to pay the full commission price. So what he's saying is that my listing agent took less of a commission. I had to pay the full commission to the buyer's agent, and that buyer's agent negotiated me down $10K off the list price, and I couldn't negotiate his commission down. So he feels that it's unfair that he had to do that. And so thereby what he's inferring is that real estate agent commission shouldn't have to be paid by the seller for the buyer. So and this is going to, I think, the Supreme Court. It's a class action lawsuit. So if they win, then what this could mean is that buyer's commission would then have to be paid for by the buyer's agent.
It's already difficult.
Yeah.
Like just dealing with buyers right now. Nobody wants to do it. I mean, in this kind of market, like to get them to cough up money just, I would say, for like a down payment. Can you imagine you tell them like, hey, on top of that, you have to add to the commission. And I feel like already people are already pulling back considering the market. I can't imagine like how long it's going to take for this to pass. But hopefully that wouldn't be the case. I definitely don't see that.
I mean, and ideally, does that affect the prices, right? I mean, always sellers have that into account, right? I mean, how much am I going to pay the realtors, right? And then the closing costs, right? So how is that going to impact the market? What would you guys say?
And then the pricing, you're right.
And then the pricing, would it go down? Would it make sense?
Yeah, because everybody wants to net, sellers want to net a certain amount. And sometimes when they price it, the commission is kind of put into place. So now...
Yeah.
I think one of our selling points too as buyers agents is that we're free 99. It costs nothing.
Yes, 100%, 1,000%. Yeah,
I would say
closer.
Yeah, bring the mic closer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just want to make sure we're gathering
all
this
information. I know he's like talking deep into it. I guess I'm so used to having a little mic here. That won't work the last time.
You gotta do the scoop back. She's used to doing the scoop back.
The scoop back.
She needs the wheels.
I need my wheels.
Follow Chloe on Instagram if you guys don't know. So yeah, I definitely agree that this is going to be a huge shift. And look, if we're honest, buyer agents have been less and less. They've had less and less leverage over the years, right? As platforms come out, Zillow, Realtor, and all these other, it's some would say the buyer's agent is almost irrelevant.
Obsolete,
right?
Yeah.
And obsolete. I would argue against that, obviously, because although you have access to the sellers and listings, and you could communicate directly with the person selling the property, there's a lot more to just getting access to the property, right? Like, comping and then negotiating all these things. If you don't do this on a day-to-day, and you understand how surveys work, how a process to purchase a property works, and you understand how inspections and appraisals and all these things, I mean, you could learn that, but it's going to cost you time, and obviously that's where. And again, our biggest point was like, we give you all of this service, all of this know-how, all of this information for free because you're not the one paying it. The listing agent is the one paying it. Now, if the listing agent isn't the person paying it anymore, this is going to be a huge problem. For buyer agents who depend on buyers because now they have less of a reason, right, to be needed, because they're going to be like, well, I have access. If you're going to help me with the negotiation, I consider myself a good negotiator, so I'm not going to pay you 3% just to do that, right?
Right.
And so then it becomes a big issue. But I also think in the end it hurts buyers tremendously, because as much as they may think that they may not need that information, listen, we've gotten people, I know personally, I know all of you guys, we've gotten people out of jams that they, you know, they find themselves in, that, you know, we've taken over other properties that are under contract that their agent isn't performing, and like they don't know what to do. So there's been a lot of situations in which the knowledge that we provide and the experience that we provide has helped them. But
and I think there has to be a price tag to that, right? Because we're not just regular agents. We really put passion and knowledge behind everything. We come with the facts. We come ready. We know, I would say, like, all the laws that a lot of agents don't even know about. So when they come to us, it's not, you're just not going through a transaction. You're getting educated through the process.
Right.
And that's a lot of times why we get the phone calls, right? Because of videos, because of podcasts. We're providing this free information. But at some point when you deal with us, you have to expect, like, we have to put food on the table. And this is the only way to do that. And every time you knock down that price, you're like providing less and less for the agents around you. So I would say, like, also buyers don't do themselves, like, I would say, like, good service by not doing research on their agents. Like, they just hire anybody and they're like, oh, well, you're free. So I just feel like we're just not respected in I would say in this market particularly. But I don't know, I guess hopefully with time will tell. Another thing I'm starting to see is the commission. Like, how will that impact? Because we all know, like, as listing agents, you sometimes get the buyer, right? How will that impact both sides?
Right. And
because at that point, you're going to have to get the buyer to pay that commission.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I was thinking about, right? Because if, like, right now, you can go online, you can search up a property yourself, which we get tons of those, right? Where they're just like, oh, we'll need your help on this, but if it's not this property, as a listing agent, I'll work with the other listing agent, right? And so where does that fall now? Knowing that maybe the listing agent's not working in your best favor, right? And so you also got to think about it that way if you're a buyer, right? And that's where we come in.
Because our price is what it is, our commission is what it is, because we put in the time and effort to research everything to make sure that, you know, your best interest is seen by everybody. So
I think that if you provide, this goes for real estate and it goes for any profession, if you provide value, the guys who provide value, the girls who provide value, are going to still be there, and they're going to still be useful and still have clients and people. And if it changes into buyers having to pay buyer commissions, there's still going to be a need for that market. Now, it may diminish significantly, and you may be fighting against other people that you wouldn't have to. But if you provide value and you provide resources and you provide knowledge, then that's always going to be something people want to tap into, and they will compensate you, because people only pay for things that they find more value in what they're paying for, right? Nobody ever pays for something that the value that they're getting is less than what they're paying for. So as long as the objective for us, whether you're a listing agent or a buyer's agent or whatever, is to provide more value than what you're compensated for, you're going to be all right. Now, that's easier said than done, obviously, but that's something to consider. And I've always said, just to kind of put a cap on this and move on to the next one, I've always said that if you are a buyer not being represented, before this whole thing came out, if you're a buyer not being represented by an agent, it's akin to you going into a lawsuit being represented by the other person's attorney. Like, how much of your interest are they going to have? The listing agent's client is the seller. As much as they may tell you that it's you, because they want to be on both sides, at the end of the day, the person who pays them is the seller, right? And so they're going to curry more favor with that person than you. Now, you know, of course, there may be exceptions to this rule, but you know, you don't ask the butcher how fresh the meat is. You know what I mean? So that's. Let's move on. Does anybody else have anything to say?
No, I think you've made it very
clear. What butcher do you go to for these things?
What's that?
What butcher? I'm just kidding. Yeah. Move on.
So. Keep sipping.
So as we
hey, by the way, we are not alcoholics, guys, at all. We're only drinking for the podcast just to make this a little bit more fun. But
yeah, so
we're by no means alcoholics.
The story behind this drinking is that Mario is a sommelier, and for those of you who don't know what a sommelier is, because I learned that word yesterday, is somebody who knows about wine. And if you know people who know about wine, they're very, very particular about their wine. So I don't know much about it. But one thing you do know is just say that it's earthy. And that usually gets every wine person. They agree. Yeah, super earthy. So moving on. I'm going to try to keep this heavy, light. And with that, let's go to the next one. This is going to be kind of fun. If you're interested in Miami events, which Chloe and I are definitely not Miami event people, but we were once. But
once upon a time.
With the exception of a couple. That I will say that we do.
I'm very excited for
partake.
some of these.
Yeah, do partake. So I'm gonna. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna name the events that are taking place within this month and really the end of March, and then we're going to rank them.
And just to state this, because like everyone on social media goes a little crazy, these are just our favorite picks. There are a million other events I would say happen, tons and tons, but there was just no time for it.
Crazy.
So these
don't
are like
stop,
our top choices. So I'm like excited.
Okay, I have something to say. How crazy is it that in 2023 we had to say this is our opinion?
I know.
Like I'm gonna rank them and I'm going to put my opinion. I don't care if you agree with it or you don't agree with it. Also, if you don't agree with it, let me know in the comment section below because I love to debate. But yeah, I mean, don't get offended by it. But if you do, sorry. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so moving on.
So what are they?
So Miami Film Festival is taking place March 4th through the 13th. Sobe Food and Wine Festival is taking out 23rd of February to 26th. Brew Miami, this one's for Mario. This is apparently a craft brew beer.
No, I included that, but I did it more for Mario.
Thank you.
That's
Go check it out.
place sometime, I don't know when actually. But
Sometime
and then
this
Miami Dade County Fair is March 17th through April 10th. The Miami Open, which is now in Hard Rock Stadium.
That's for
taking
you.
place March 21st through April 3rd. And Ultra Music Festival, March 22nd.
That one's for Chloe for sure.
Cool. So, out of
2009.
instead of ranking them, out of that list, favorites.
Oh, there's some good ones.
Food and wine.
Food and wine.
Food and wine
and
is
I'm
number one.
biased because my best friend like puts on this entire production.
Yeah,
So
shout out to Andrea.
shout out to Andrea.
Who puts on the entire? I mean, she has a team, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but she's
one of
like
the main people there who put on the
I'm very
entire
proud
show.
of her. It
Can't
takes
happen
a
without
lot.
her.
No, and it keeps growing every year. It's just become
Yeah.
like they're completely sold out this year. So it's exciting. We're going. We're going on Sunday.
Yeah, we're
so
going on Sunday. So for those of you guys who don't know what the Sobe Food and Wine Festival is. It's just this event that takes place with some of the best. I would say, right? They work with
The
the best
top
restaurants,
elite chefs and
the elite
restaurants,
chefs locally,
bars.
but
Yeah.
also they bring in a lot of celebrity chefs.
Mhm.
Like Guy Fieri is coming, and they've had Bobby Flay, and they have all these celebrity chefs that come, and it's this great event. And yeah, the idea is to really promote a lot of restaurants and brands and foods. But then they have a lot of VIP local after party events. So there's the festival itself where you go and there's just like a lot of kiosks, if you will. There's a theme and then they just kind of play on that theme. And then there's private events afterwards. So it's a really cool experience if you like to drink, if you like to eat, and it's a 3-day thing.
Yeah. It starts on Thursday and it always ends on Sunday.
Yeah.
They even have like cooking, like certain restaurants will have like cocktail making or
Yeah.
pizza making events.
Local
it's-
ones?
Yeah.
Gecko has sushi making.
Nice.
Oh.
Brickle.
Isn't Gecko owned by
Bad Bunny?
Bad
Bad
Bunny?
Bunny. Is it good?
It's okay.
I've
Gecko?
heard
Sorry,
mixed
Bad Bunny.
reviews.
Bad Bunny's gonna watch these things. Like, what do you
Sorry, Bad
mean?
Bunny.
Hey,
I
man,
love him.
she went to the friends and family, came back home. She's like, it's alright.
It's like, if this is what they got for
It's like-
friends and family,
Yeah.
this ain't it.
No, so the next one would be okay, so that was Isabel and mine. What's your favorite?
Miami Open.
Oh,
by
of
far.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
The Miami Open. I'm sad that,
Steven would
This
she
guy
was
walks
like a
around
tennis
with,
star. Yeah, I
with
know,
a tennis,
like a
tennis
racket.
racket in the back of his car.
Miami Open. If any of you guys who are watching this think that the Miami Open's not number one, I don't know what to tell you. But it's unfortunately it's not in Key Biscayne anymore.
No.
It's in the Hard Rock Stadium. So I haven't gone to the
Oh.
Hard Rock one because I think they moved that last year and I didn't go last year. I've always gone to the Key Biscayne one. I remember one of the best times we went there was when Chloe got us box seats.
Oh yeah, with one of my
Damn.
jobs.
Yeah, this was years ago. And Rafael Nadal was playing Roger Federer.
Yes, it
And
was
then
great.
Oh.
Venus Williams were playing Serena
Yes,
Williams.
it
I
was
was like,
epic.
man, is this 1995? I don't know. I think Nadal
Fe-
won
oh,
won
I
the
was
one
hoping
because
it
we
was
saw
Federer.
the Federer match versus Nadal.
I like the Key Biscayne personally. Hard Rock is okay. I feel like everything's now hosted at the Hard
Yeah.
Rock, so
Yeah.
I felt like
It's a
what
great,
brought the
yeah.
culture
And-
of tennis was Key Biscayne.
I don't
agree.
look. I don't argue towards that because man, that saves us a lot of traffic.
Yeah, I know.
The
That
traffic
was
that's a big
unbearable.
one. Key Biscayne, could you imagine?
Well,
living there?
they're the ones who were, the ones that wanted to get it out of Key Biscayne were the residents.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And
for sure.
I don't blame them.
Kudos
Key
to them
Biscayne-
for
Key
doing
Biscayne's
it.
a small island, and there's really just if you really think about it, it's just
One
one
way
way
in. Yeah.
going there, and one way
Yep.
coming out.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you just happen to live there and don't want anything to do with the Miami Open, I can see how frustrating it would be to be stuck in traffic for like 2 hours just to get to your house
Yeah.
on a 2-mile strip. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The one that here's my thing. The one that I saw this list and I was like, ugh, I would never go back there. But was number one on my list many years ago was Ultra.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
There was a time where Ultra was the number one thing I wanted to
Well,
do.
you guys watch it from your balcony, no?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
we live in downtown, so we hear it. We see
see
all the
it.
costumes and everything,
Yeah.
but we
All-
haven't been to.
Yeah, we haven't been.
But doesn't it keep you up? Like they wake you up at like what 7 a.m. with music? Or wasn't
No,
it?
no,
It was,
no,
because when we
no,
lived in
no.
50.
Yeah, we saw it.
Oh my!
Yeah.
It was
I saw it
so
for
cool.
many years.
It's like
Green.
3 p.m., 5 p.m. now. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
So 11.
11.
Okay, so it's not
11,
that
they
bad.
shut it
Okay,
down.
it's not that bad.
Mhm.
But the lights, man.
It's just
They-
they block off, you know.
I just
all
get
this
so
game.
much anxiety when people are so close to you like that.
There's
Yeah.
so
As
many,
you,
dude.
as you get older, you just don't want to be surrounded. by
No,
so
and I
many
think where
people.
the
Yeah.
world is at right now too, like you're just very cautious. Like I go to
There's
the
a
movie
lot
theater
of-
and I'm
look,
like,
Oh
man.
yeah, less after now. Yeah,
Post-COVID.
There's a lot of
yeah.
things about zombies, and for some
Like
reason,
the last of Us.
Zombie.
for some reason, I feel like all these dudes that are going there are gonna turn into zombies and just attack everyone.
Yeah, you'll never find Mario in any of these events.
I think
No.
about that
They're
stuff,
either
man.
turning into zombies attacking
Mario.
people, or they're making out with trees.
Yeah. One of those
things
two.
are gonna happen. And either one of those aren't good. Right?
Yeah.
So,
I remember that.
Wait. So Mario, so what's your? Did you say your favorite one? No.
Huh?
What's your favorite event?
To be honest
The
with you
brew?
guys,
The fair.
no, I like.
Oh.
Well, from these, I mean, Basel. Are they still having Basel this year?
No.
yeah, but
No.
we're,
But we're
no,
not
so
talking
we're
about.
talking
I know.
Even part
No,
of
but
the
that's
list.
that's an event that happens this year.
That wasn't on the list.
Yeah, but
It's not on the list.
For March.
Happening-
First
Oh, for
quarter.
March. Oh.
March.
Yeah.
February.
I'll do the brew one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's
Going
fine.
against the grain. I love it. All right. So,
But
yeah.
go to the fair. Go to the fair. Fair food
Okay,
is
yeah. One thing I
legit,
say
guys.
about the fair is that growing up the fair with, and Chloe and I go to the fair every year.
You guys
Yeah.
still
Every
go.
year we're like,
We
we're
love
not going to
the
go to the fair. And
Yeah.
every year
And
we go to the
you
fair.
go to the fair,
So it's one of those things that I don't know, just growing up and it's so ingrained in you as
Yeah.
just a Miami.
It's like a Disney, I would
It's
say.
like our
Like
Disney.
it's like our because you build all these memories, you know. And like when Steven and I started dating, those were like our date weekends, like at the fair.
At the fair.
Especially like the first couple of
We
years.
like carnival
Actually,
food
Ultra
and
too.
What's your favorite carnival food?
5,000 calories in a meal.
elephant?
Elephant
funnel cake.
Funnel
Oh,
cake.
funnel
I
cake.
love
I hate
those too.
funnel cake.
I
What do you like?
love funnel cakes.
Curly fries. I always get the curly
Yeah.
fries.
I love
Huh?
curly fries too.
Do you guys ever eat the apple with the caramel?
Hell no.
That's weird, right?
It always
No.
looks like a gimmicky type of
Who's
thing.
who?
I'm
Yeah.
just scared like my tooth will get caught or
Yeah.
something. Oh.
I'll break a tooth.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oreos.
Oh,
fried
those are
Oreo.
Okay,
fire.
but the fried Oreos, I just feel came
And Miami
from
does
the
it different,
OG
too, 'cause
funnel
Yes.
cake. You know what I mean?
Miami does it different because they'll also have like Latin inspired.
Oh,
food,
yeah,
so
yeah.
you'll have like chicharron there, or
Yeah,
you'll
that's
have
true.
like
Arepas,
empanadas,
arepas.
All the
like
stuff.
things that I'm
Yeah.
sure that most fairs just don't have and are just
Yeah.
normal to us to have, like a croqueta. You're like, okay, sure, sure, we'll have that.
Do you
So-
guys ride the rides?
No.
Okay.
No,
No,
Because
right?
I don't either.
Those are
I
the safest
watch 'em,
rides. What are
and
you
I'm
talking
like,
about?
oh, that one looks like it'll come
Any
down. Well,
roller coaster that was in like New Orleans last week, I'm not riding. Okay? So it
no,
doesn't-
do you guys remember the Gravitron that it flew off? Or you guys were too young
Bro,
for that, right?
what?
We're the
We're
same.
gonna
No, we're not.
We're the
gonna
same
get-
age,
We're
man.
gonna get
We
demonetized.
just look younger.
That set the fear of God in me. So now I look at the rides and they're always like shaking, and
Yeah.
I'm like, you know
You
what?
see the
Just go
boats come
grab
off
some
and fall.
fries, some food.
Yeah, no.
No.
That's fun for me. Or like the pet farm. Don't they have like a farm
Chloe
for
thinks that
animals?
she's just
The
in a
farm-
normal
petting the
conversation.
farm.
You're
Sorry.
in a farm.
Every time you talk, you go like
Yeah,
this.
she's like,
Because I like to see you guys.
We're gonna get
I'm gonna have
we're
to
gonna
get like a
comments
little.
like,
I'm gonna have to get a
"We
little
can't
clip.
hear Chloe,
I
this
know.
audio was terrible. I'm like, dude, listen.
Sorry, sorry.
It's not on me.
That's I'm using my little mic for my filming.
So
Next
talk
time.
into the mic.
Okay.
All right. So
Good? Okay.
moving on. One point of contention that a lot of people have, and one that I want to bring up after we had that very light conversation, is the Miami real estate market crashing? Now, I want to give you guys some statistics, okay? Because and here are the
Yeah.
viewers rolling their eyes, saying a bunch of real estate agents are going to tell us how the Miami real estate market isn't crashing. I'm here to tell you that's not entirely the case, okay? I'm going to keep it as real as possible, and we'll see what you guys think. I'm just going to base it off of statistics. So here are a few statistics for you guys to kind of just have in the back of your mind. As of February 2023, single-family home inventory is up 2.6 months. Okay, single-family home sales has decreased 45.1% year over year since this time last year. Condo sales has decreased 50.2% year over year. The single-family home median price has increased 1.1%. Small, but it's an increase. Condo median prices have increased 5.5% year over year. And the nationwide mortgage applications have dropped to a 28-year low. So,
Not shocked.
with that
Yeah.
information,
Oh.
Expected all of this. Mm-hmm.
there are some agents out there, some of them are users, we're
Hi.
talking about that the real estate market in Miami
It's fine.
is not being affected. It's fine, right?
Yeah.
And I find that so laughable. It's far from fine. Okay.
Comedy.
If fine to you was 48% more transactions last year than this time, and almost half of your transactions in terms of the transaction volume is gone, then sure. But it's definitely been affected. There has been definitely been a felt in the market. Now, one of the key things, that 45.1% number in terms of single family home decreased sales. This is just transaction volumes, right? We're not even talking about prices. It's just the amount of transactions that take place has fell by half, basically. And the inventory going up 2.6 months. What that means to you guys is inventory that is less than 6 months is a seller's market, over 6 months is a buyer's market, at 6 to 7 months is a neutral market. So we are still in a seller's market. At 2.6 months, we're still heavily in a seller's market, but we were at 1 month last year. You know, so it's
We have some breathing
terms,
room.
Yeah, it's definitely increased significantly in terms of inventory and the amount of transactions that happen. So there are things that are happening. Now, I have an idea as to what I think is happening. Obviously, mortgage rates increasing is a major component of that, but I think just as much as buyer sentiment. Buyers do not feel comfortable in the market at this moment. There's plenty of buyers that have money, that are approved, that are willing to pay at this price, that are willing to move forward and just refuse not to, in fear that in the next 30 to 60, 90 days, the market is going to crash and thereby they made a wrong mistake. So they choose to kind of just hold off, sit in the sidelines just to wait and see, dabble, because they're still making us go show them properties, right? They still want to see 97 properties just to make sure that, you know, something is out there in the market for them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, nobody really sends offers. And I get it. I get that there's a lot of fear in the market. So, but what is curious is that the increase in prices are still happening slightly, but it's still there. So what do you guys think? Do you think the market is crashing? Do you think it's a correction? Or do you think nothing is everything's fine?
I think this is a prime example of people taking advantage of the market. I think that the fear is going to hold people who could have bought last year, who are comparing rates from last year this year. But the people that know that, hey, markets are going to change and they're going to stabilize, the people that have the money to do it, that have the guts, because that's what it takes, it's guts to buy, are going to benefit from purchasing now and refinancing later.
Right.
Because the idea is find a property that you feel, well, that you're happy with, right? You're not going to find I want to make it very clear to everybody like listening, you're never going to find the perfect property. You're going to find some things that are going to check off on your list, and you should go with that. Ideally, people in this crazy market are still trying to check off every single thing on their list and then are still hesitant. If you get a couple check marks, purchase it, because the idea is the value will go up within the next year. That's what history is showing, and it's just going to accelerate that way. When I have like hesitations of people telling me, well, look, you know, I'll wait till next year, I'm like, that's what you said 3 years ago. And look at the market that we're in now. Then don't go hating on the people that actually took the risk and then benefited from the refinancing programs. So that's like my personal take on it.
Yeah.
And I'm just speaking, I always like and I only speak for Steven and myself, because like this is our opportunity, right? Like this is the time that we go in and we invest. Granted, we haven't purchased a property in the last 3 months, but we are shopping around. We're getting to know our rates. We know that things are going to be very competitive. And just to highlight, this is also in the car market. Because I just went to go lease my car, go lease a brand new car.
Impossible.
They even told me, they're like, hey, Chloe, like the interests are a little bit up. Let's hold off a little bit more and then you purchase.
Yeah.
But it's
Everybody's
everybody's suffering.
Cars that sell for $40,000 have an $800 a month.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
at least.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
just
man.
insane. You know,
Yeah.
but yeah, what do you guys think?
Since I mean, right now that there's a little bit more inventory, if you're a buyer submitting an offer right now, it's not going to be as cutthroat as it was last year.
Yeah.
So, you know, now's the time to send those offers out, because you're not going to be paying top dollar like you would have been paying last year.
Right.
A lot more. Yeah, no, and I'm just worried about the rents, right? Because if you're not gonna be able to buy, the rents are still gonna go up.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah,
that's the thing for me. That's what I keep telling all my people. And honestly, we're going through that situation right now where we're having to buy and the mortgage rates are high, but I'd rather pay, 6% than 100% in rent.
Yeah,
True.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're actually
And you're happy
trying to
with
buy
where
this
you
year.
live. So for you guys,
I love that place.
yeah.
I love.
I know you do.
Guys, we live at One
We're gonna
Miami.
do
Oh,
another podcast.
Just one
Just one
Miami.
So, yeah, I think that this is a very interesting market that we're in. I definitely think. I don't think that the yes, sir.
No.
Thank you, please. I don't think that the market for example, is going to crash. I've been saying that forever, and I've been saying the market isn't going to crash for many YouTube videos. And I've gotten a lot of flack and a lot of hate. But you know, if it would, my personal opinion is that if it would have crashed, it would have happened by now. And prices have definitely corrected. Now, one of the things that I get some calls and people are saying, hey, prices have dropped 10% or 15%. I'm like, they were overpriced by 10%, you know, to begin with. So, you know, them dropping 10% doesn't really say a whole lot. Now sellers are starting to get with the program, start knowing that you're not going to get prices over list. You're not going to get prices over appraised value. And so you're going to have to sell at what the market is selling at and trading at. And so when they lower their price, it seems like there's these massive reductions. Sellers are just starting to accept the price that we originally gave them when we went for the listing appointment. Because this is how a listing appointment would go. Their property is worth $1 million. I would say your neighbor sold for $1 million. They're like, cool, Steve, and listed at 1.2. So then now when it doesn't sell at 1.2, because some agents would take those listings, they'll be like, we now need to list at $1 million. They're like, listed at 1.1. So they'll drop 100K, and now it's like the pandemonia, sky's falling, you know. But
And
it shows you that price single-family home increases are still 1.1% higher. So they... You know, I don't know what market crash exists where the price is up 1.1%. Now, is there a correction? Absolutely. Should you not buy at this moment? I think that buying at this moment is not for everybody right now. I don't definitely think that if you could wait, do I think prices are going to come down a little bit more? Absolutely. As interest rates continue to go up, then prices are going to go down because people can't afford it, and then that just means less people, and that means more inventory, and that means you have more negotiation and prices come down. On the flip side, what Mario was saying, more renters. And so if you're not buying and you're stuck renting, that's a problem. So it's just about like, what problem do you want to have?
I also think the frustration that I remember, I know you guys were going through at the time, from buyers, sellers, renters, whoever it was, the competition. It was the idea of putting in an offer because they had 10 other offers and we wanted to see whose offer would get accepted. Now it's like, oh, well, no one's putting an offer. So it's not like the property's not worth it. That's not necessarily it. People are as scared as you. But if you take the initiative, at the end of the day, most likely you will come out winning. Considering where Miami is growing, it is a very favorable city considering the fact that there are Miami haters. But I do definitely foresee it it's going to get to a place where we knew and we expected, and we're going to turn to those buyers and sellers and we're going to say, hey, I told you so. I'm sorry. Like,
one last
and we're going to probably deal with them. So.
One last thing I'll leave the audience with before, you know, if you guys want to share after this is great, is look, real estate has never gone down from decade to decade, right? So real estate always goes like this, but it always goes like this on a long-term time horizon. So what I mean by that is prices in 1990 were more expensive than 1980. Prices in 2000 were more expensive than 1990, so on and so forth, right? During that period, yes, there's drops, there's increases, but 10 years from now, whatever's happening in the current market, price values will be more expensive then than they are now. So what I tell people, if you're thinking about buying, flipping, or trying to do something, or you know you may move in the next 1 or 2 years, don't buy, rent. And then if you wanted to do that, start investing and rent where you live and buy what you own, right? But if you're thinking about 5, 7, 10 years that you're going to be living in the property, more than likely it's probably better for you to own that property. So it's just how long of a time horizon do you have is kind of the advice that I give to most people, but prices will be dropping. That is, to me, 100% it's going to be dropping. I just don't think it's that bad. And with that, I'm going to go to the next topic, which kind of ties into this one. Miami tops the list as highest inflation in the United States. And if you guys are interested in knowing, I'll read you this. Miami ended 2022 with the highest inflation rate in the country. Local prices rose 9.9% in the Miami metropolitan area, according to the data, which surpassed Phoenix. Who cares about Phoenix? Just kidding. For you Phoenix guys
The
watching.
Phoenix haters.
Phoenix haters are like,
or
this
no,
is better than Miami, and we'll talk about why it isn't later on. But listen, 9.9 goes back to what Mario was saying about how rents are going up because the inflation in Miami. So that's the question, right? If you don't live in Miami, you'd be like, why would anyone in Miami want to buy in this crazy market? Just wait. But when your expenses are going up 9.9 and knowing that your biggest expense that you have is your housing expense and you're like, I just need to control that and just keep it stable, that's when buying becomes more of a, hey, this may not be as bad of an idea because 6%, although high, like Mario was saying, is still a lot better than 100% in interest in
Yeah.
rents, because what he's going by that is that the interest rate in purchasing is 6%, but the interest rate in renting is 100%, right? Because none of that money goes to you. So at the end of the day, which one do you want to factor in? And then ultimately, if you can hold off and then refinance, is a strategy. It may not be your strategy, but it is a strategy that people are implementing. So what do you guys think about inflation? Have you guys felt inflation going up?
I'm just thinking about the groceries I have to do every week.
Man.
Like,
Everything. I think that's where we're at. Everything has gone
so
up.
crazy.
Yeah.
Our rent's about to go up, and that's why we are opting to purchase, because that's the one thing that we're kind of at least trying to like
Yeah.
study. Because car payment went up, groceries went up, insurance went
Insurance went up. Man, eggs went up.
up. Eggs.
Oh.
People
It's
hustling
true.
eggs out here.
No.
You know, they got a carton.
Man, I'll tell you, Hell's Kitchen is opening up in downtown.
What's that?
Hell's Kitchen?
A
New
restaurant by
I
David.
know Hell's Kitchen is like a borough or
Ramsey's?
city.
Oh,
or-
Ramsey. Dave
Yes.
Ramsey.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
It's his
Well,
like,
that was his show that he was on.
and
Yeah.
now he has a restaurant.
Now he has a
opened.
restaurant.
That's
So
cool.
that's
There
gonna
are.
be right in front of the Aston Martin.
Oh,
A
nice.
beer there, $13
Wow.
for a beer.
I think that's like a beer anywhere now.
No, man.
Like in Miami,
$9.
alcohol- I mean, I don't drink, but alcohol is
It's
expensive.
expensive, but a beer.
I'm a cheap
man?
date, but
Beers.
I'm used to paying $8 to $10 a beer in most places in Miami. Leave us a comment in
$8
the
to
comment section below
$10.
if $9 to $10 is expensive in most
Man.
places, because for me,
yeah,
that's just
we're
what
not
it is.
That's just
aware.
what it is.
It's so
I don't know where you guys are going, man.
Yeah.
but shit.
I don't know.
Hey.
Maybe if you live in, Idaho,
No, we went to Oregon and we went to this bar. Man, the beers were $2.
So $2, $3.
$2,
yeah.
$3.
And they were great
Where?
beers.
They were great beer in Oregon.
In Portland.
Great beers. They were great because they were $2.
No, but they were
Like,
like
let's
they're
have,
the
like,
same
other
beers
things.
we get here, but they're just $2.
They were in cans, so it's like, I wasn't drinking some weird beer. It was like stuff I've seen in Miami as well.
They're losing money and selling you that and gaining money back and whatever. Anyways, this is not a business, but it kind of is a business. So inflation's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's
We feel
pure
it.
insanity. People aren't going out, man. And so that's another driver in the economy, in the local real estate thing. Like, what's going to happen to restaurants? And because as rents go up in these shopping plazas and these places in the commercial spaces, and people aren't spending money, because the first thing you stop doing is like, I'm not going to Gecko. I'm not going to a restaurant that Isabel doesn't even like to go to and spending $250. Because now my car payment went up, right? So I'm not going to go there. And so those places start to suffer. And then who knows what's going to happen? And so commercial real estate may become more less expensive because people just have to shutter. They have
more
to close.
attainable.
So that's something that I think about, but who knows? Guys, wrapping this up because
Got
people
it.
are tuning off.
Hey,
all
yo.
right? For the 3 people that are still listening to this, hi mom, by the way. Thank you so much for watching this podcast.
She is, I'm sure.
I want to finish this with
Mi hijo tan
why
lindo.
is why is Miami and Miamians hated on so much? I feel like Miami gets so much hate.
So
and part
much
of me
hate.
really loves it. And let me tell you the story. We did a podcast here about a month ago, and Chloe had the bright idea to just share with her how we truly feel and just truly and say, imagine this. She says that the city that she lives in is one of the best cities hence why she lives here. Like most people tend to
Well, I
live
was
in the
born
city.
and raised here. Like,
But
Yeah.
it's also like
There's a
You
certain
know?
pride.
people started hating on the
So
fact that
much
they're
hate.
like, how is Miami's not the best city? Mind you, guys, if you most people, not everybody, I understand that some people don't have that option, but most people who have the option to live where they want to live tend to live in the city that they feel is the best city. So if
not
you
if
live
it's
here-
expensive. Most of the people
Well,
that
yeah,
were born
I
and
mean,
raised
but
here
I'm
live.
saying like if all things being equal, right, and you could live anywhere in the world, technically you'd want to pick the city that you'd like to live in the most, right? The one that you feel is the best. So if we're still living here and rent is, nominally more expensive somewhere else, but we want to live here, we're going to live here, right? So Chloe had the audacity to say that Miami was the best city of all cities, and
I
that's
said
including
for
the
work and
world.
play. That was the comment.
Play, yeah.
Man, stand firm on your.
I am. I'm standing firm. I still believe it. And I just want to thank all the lovers on my comment section
Yeah,
who
some
were
people
supporting
were
me.
supporting it.
So
Yes, girl.
supportive.
I will double down on it.
And a lot of them weren't even from Miami, which is
Yeah.
great.
is the best city. And you can at me and start a conversation with me if you want as to why. I mean, this is it's like, how are we going to even debate this? I mean, it's so subjective.
Well, no, so
but
people
either
were
way,
saying
it
that
is the best
every city has like work and pleasure, which I totally get. But when you come and you look in the idea and you close your eyes and you say, what does paradise look like? step out of Miami International Airport, go to South Beach, like this is paradise. Jump on a cruise ship.
I
Like
think there's
you
better
have
beaches, for sure.
1000%, but you have
I just think the
everything.
culmination of everything that Miami
Yeah,
offers you makes it the best city. I think that I love the diversity. I love the culture. I'm Hispanic. I love the ability. People are like, it's the only place you don't have to speak English in the United States and you can get by. I'm like, yeah, I love that about this city.
You could get by with speaking Spanish.
With speaking Spanish.
That's
and,
it.
And so that is it's ingrained in me and my culture. That's what I like. I like being able to go to Versailles or Sergio's, grab a croqueta. You can't do those things in other places like Café con Leche. It just doesn't happen, right? And so like the food, the culture, the scene. Yeah, events that happen.
Take me with
here.
the leche evaporada.
Yeah.
For the coffee.
And so there are a lot of flaws, but here's the point that I'm getting at. The question isn't that. The question is, why is Miami so hated? Now, with all the great things that Miami does have, and I think that it does have a lot of great things, I can definitely see why Miami gets a lot of
I
hate.
complain about it all the time.
There's a lot of rude people.
Superficial.
Okay.
Super superficial.
So do you think,
Traffic.
gun to your head,
This is going to be so
most
hated on.
most superficial city in the United States is?
Miami and LA.
Yeah.
1000%.
man.
I've never been to LA, but everyone compares it to Miami.
Miami
Never
and
been to
LA.
LA.
Never been there, but you guys
But
are getting the
everyone
second spot,
says it. And if you notice, like, look at where all the celebrities go. Like, we have a place called Star Island. Like, there's just, everything is geared towards the city. And both of them, I would say. So, I mean, that's where plastic surgery is, like, number one. For both
In the nation? Well, Colombia.
Shopping.
Yeah. Hey.
I think the plastic surgery is so rampant here because a lot of
in the
Latin
States,
American
in the States.
countries, Colombia included, are very plastic surgery forward, and a lot of those people like literally live here, go to Colombia, do the plastic surgery, and come back. Right?
Well, again, because it's more affordable.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
why
yeah,
they
it's
go.
more affordable, but it's also Miami is the north capital of Latin America. Like it is.
Yeah.
It
This
is
is-
like in an extension to Latin America.
It's just welcoming for anybody that's coming into
In
the
a
country,
way,
like
For
all of our families.
international
I don't know if I'd say
investors,
the
oof.
people are as
No, but the idea of that you have all the comforts of home, like when you come here, versus like, and that's why a lot of people also go to New Jersey. I don't know if you guys have heard that. Like
What?
a lot of Hispanics end up in New Jersey and Miami.
The
So-
beaches.
No, it's not even that. But the idea is that you have that culture. There's a lot of like Hispanic restaurants and like everyone, the entrepreneurs there are usually Hispanic. So everything's a little bit more welcoming than if you would just go into like, again, not to say like Ohio, Arizona, like places like that, where they're just not used to that kind of culture. Again, it's just based on culture. That's really why we stay and we support Miami so much, because at the end of the day, it's our parents and then our grandparents. Like that's the reason why we're here. And that's like
I
my
love Chloe playing it real safe.
No, I'm not playing it safe. Like that's where I come from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love this city. I honestly am one of those people that I used to complain about the city all the time. I was like, it's so superficial.
Yeah, right.
Nobody, you know, like, but then again, at the end of the day, I started businesses here, like, and when was like heavily supported and like born and raised. And I was able to see this city go from like almost nothing to something. So there's something that we should pride ourselves in 1000%. But again, I think everybody has that love with their city. Just Miami's done it 10 times since COVID, I would say.
If you're a sports fan, don't come here.
Yeah.
Because we're bandwagon
We're the
fans.
worst.
I'm the first person to tell you. I'll go to a Marlins game. We're in the World Series. Short of that, I'm not
It's
going.
terrible.
You know?
Go Heat.
Yeah. I'll go to a Heat game when they're in the playoffs. Short of that, I'm not
Go
going.
Dolphins.
Man, you know, it's
Like we're just not big. Like our loyalty.
We're just always supporting the youth, baby.
Yes.
Man, you know what? That's a good point, because I think one of the things that makes people bandwagon fans is that there's just so much to do in the city. Do you know there's towns that are just sports towns,
Yeah, you're
right?
College.
College,
very-
you know, and that's all they have,
Yeah.
right? We got everything here.
Yeah.
dude.
So,
So-
what Mario's saying is like we're not that crazy fans because you guys don't have anything else to do. Is what you're saying.
Essentially, yeah.
So Mario's gonna get a lot of hate.
I'm just saying, man.
You're
We
just
got
pointing
everything.
facts.
We
You're
did.
just
We
pointing
got
facts.
everything we want here, right? We got beaches. We got business. We got city life.
Yeah.
You know, and we got that on a
We got the
regular day
corporate
basis.
world,
You know, we could do. I could run any day.
Yeah.
Right.
That's another reason why people hate on Miami. It's the weather.
Yeah.
It's just so good all the time. So you'll be at home like in the snow, and then
It
you'll,
gets humid though.
People
Like
always
I'm
say-
not gonna
people always say
glamorize on
the
that. The
weather is
humidity
so
Hey,
kills
man.
me.
Yeah, I sweat a lot.
But it is-
they
the
don't come in
winters are
summer
great,
as
yeah.
often because I'm like, dude, I don't know how good it could be when it's 98 degrees.
But
and
there's
Nick Lachey's
the
was
sun
singing
is
and it's so
always
humid.
shining. It's always like a bright sunny day. Well, most of the time. Because I know
drink. No, I wanted to listen to this about drink.
in London, like it's gloomy, or
Oh,
other
man,
parts
that's
of the
sad.
world, it's
Yeah.
gloomy, and it's like
There's a
you know,
depression that comes with weather.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
called
we
sad.
had a friend
I think it's
experience
called
it.
sad,
Yeah.
We had a friend experience
Yeah.
it where like London, it's always
Yeah.
rainy and gloomy, and
And
people
you
actually.
literally get depressed by that. And
Yeah,
so
I can see
and
that.
I can see why, because I've gone on vacation to places that are beautiful.
Tennessee when you
Yeah.
went.
And I'm like, dude,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's always gloomy. Like Ireland is like that. It's always
Ireland is
rainy.
like
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful place.
It's
Like
stunning.
They have some
The
of
people-
most nature. The
the
people
people
are
are
Amazing.
amazing.
yeah, like you just have a great time there, but the weather is always like just
Rainbows.
rainy, and it's just like,
Parka.
and for a few days you're like, yeah, it's fine. But like I also was thinking, I'm
More
like,
than
man,
a
if this
week.
is my day to day
Yeah.
going to work, like
Yeah.
this is just
Well,
insane.
Miami's had those weeks, right? Where like
Oh,
3,
yeah.
4 days
Woo.
and it's
Mhm.
nonstop
It's
raining.
raining.
Mhm.
And I'm feeling it. I'm going to a showing and I'm like,
Third, fourth
oh,
day, you're like,
I don't want to get out of the
Yeah.
car.
You gotta
and,
bring out
like,
the Gore-Tex.
I'm exhausted. All of a sudden, I get a headache. I'm like, you know what? Back home. Let's go back to
yeah,
the
you're
drawing
not
board.
motivated to
Yeah.
get
At all.
up and go do your showings.
Yeah.
Even you're like, man,
Maybe that's why the city's so entrepreneurial. Like
Maybe.
you have so much, like, you know, like you wake up, you're like, oh, the sun is shining, the birds are chirping.
Mhm.
No, I'm just
That's
glamorizing Miami.
excellent.
The tech is clear.
Next.
Finding Nemo. Just
All
keep
right.
swimming. All right, we're
With
good.
that,
We're
guys,
done.
listen,
We're done. We're done.
Here's what I'll do to end this thing. Miamians and Miami is hated by a lot. If you have your list of reasons as to why
Please
people
add them.
hate Miami or why you hate Miami, please let us know. I'm curious to know exactly why you hate us. Hate is a strong word. Maybe
Yeah.
strongly dislike or are
Mhm.
strongly opposed to our way of life. Maybe that's a much better word. Leave us a comment in the comment section below. Make sure you tag Mario Restrepo. And he'll be answering every single one of those comments. And with that, guys, I hope you enjoyed.
Thank
you
you.
so much for tuning in, for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Just know that this podcast will bring you the most up-to-date real estate information, entertainment, whatever we can. If you have any comments in terms of what we should be sharing in our next podcast or topics, let us know in the comment section below. We'll definitely, and questions, right? We'll answer hopefully
Yes,
a couple
questions.
Q&As if you guys have any questions about real estate or just general stuff in Miami. Cool. Thank you guys.
Awesome.
Catch you later.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Ciao.
you.
How much time are people like shutting off? Maybe there's only 3 people watching this.
How do
right
you
now.
how do you feel about this?
It's
right
okay.
now?
Answer.
What time is it?
I think you guys hit great talking points. You covered like 3 subjects. What's your closer?
Oh,
I got the closer ready. You guys
Wait, wait,
ready?
wait.
No, I'm not
Wait,
ready.
wait.
You're not ready?
Closer?
I'm not ready for
Okay, high
that.
energy, guys.
Why?
High energy.
Okay.
Uh,
Wait, pause.
Hold on.
Your shirt's unbuttoned.
Which one? Oh my god.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Thank you, Vero.
It's just when you like.
Oh, that's how well this podcast is going.
bro, it's the abs. They just said I need to get out of here.
It's the inflation. My shirt is My shirt's like, yo. All right, so
Yeah, look at Isabel.
okay.
That was a good one.
Leave that as a blooper when you edit this. All right.